This conference will now be recorded.
There we go. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. And I'm happy that you're here to learn about how to be a competition judge. And many of you have judged before and are here with your generous donation of time. We are going to be talking about general guidelines for judging that everyone should always follow. That might be repeat information for some of you return judges. Carolyn Reynolds will be giving that, and I'll give you her bio in just a moment. And then Phoebe will be delivering. Phoebe Forio in Atlanta will be giving us a overview of the changes made to the assessment form since last year, and just an overview of all of the assessment type forms available to you as you go through the judging process. Your lead judges will be your first point of contact for questions about judging after this, but I will send out the recording of this to everybody. We received 54 entries this year, and I believe 10 of them are print entries and the rest are online in some format. And we also have 54 judges, which allows every judge to have to judge only 3 entries. Wow. So we are very happy about this because you have until April to do it. So we don't want to add to the stress that anybody might be feeling with work and life and pandemic adjustments. We don't want you to stress out about this. And also we want you to do your best possible work and to, have opportunities to meet with your judging team to see how things are going, because I think what's important to me is that everybody finishes their judging. So that's what's most important. So if you feel at risk for not finishing your judging, then you just tell me right away, and I'll find. We have actually some judges standing in the wings ready to jump in if somebody is really not able to do it. But I do feel that judging is in itself an incredible networking and education exercise for yourself. Like, this is something you're doing that is helping and mentoring somebody else, and you're probably learning something along the way. And this is the whole point of it. It's this magnificent opportunity for us to sort of, help quality to be at the forefront and to have, assessment guidelines that tell us what is quality, and that helps us achieve more in our work. As far as the dates for mock judging training, so one of the things that I wanted to introduce this year, and I think we were going to be doing it, it's just kind of late to be announcing it, but I did tell you already that to put aside this Wednesday and Thursday. You don't have to do it. It's a half an hour each evening, Wednesday and Thursday. John Garrison is going to be one of our speakers. Yeah, he's going to run a mock judging exercise. So he's going to receive an entry that Malu and I give him, and he's going to look at it ahead of time, and then he's going to show you all. You're going to have, if you decide to attend, you get it. You can have a copy of it too. I'll email it out or something, and then you can talk. You can just get your feet wet. Like, how would I judge this? What are my first impressions of this document? And John will lead you through it, and then I think we have. Hopefully 2 others. I think 2 others that I know about. I don't want to announce them till I'm sure. I think Mike is one, and we'll see. Malu and I are kind of putting that together at the last minute, but I did already ask you to put aside some time, but I might be revising that. We will be recording them. There will be 3 opportunities, and I'm sorry for the late organization on that. Also, lead judges, you'll get a checklist to help you run your judging groups well. So that is also pending, so sorry for the delay. But all of the entries have been mailed out. All of the entries are on the web, and you are soon going to get an email with login information to get to your entries after this, sometime soon after this training. Our webmaster, Brian, who's absolutely amazing, has already set this all up. It's just a matter of getting it out, but you have plenty of time. So without further ado, I have gone on and on, sorry, but there's, it's so great to get a chance to talk to you all at one time. So I wanted to tell you that. Oh, and also, if you haven't sent me a picture and you're willing to have it put up on our website, we're going to have this sort of a page with all of our judges. Nobody will know which judge judged their entry. We won't be like saying, and this is judging group 3. So just, if you want to, if you don't mind, I have like, I think 10 of the photos. And so, I need another 44. So feel free to just email me a picture if you don't mind. So before I introduce our Carolyn, our first trainer, Malu, please add to anything that I just said. Nothing? Okay.
No, nothing.
Okay. Great. So Carolyn Reynolds. Carolyn Reynolds is joining us tonight to deliver the judging training. She is a technical writer, project manager, and information designer who works at Siemens Healthcare Diagnostics. She has more than 30 years of experience in the field of documentation design and creation, specializing in online deliverables. Oops. I just muted everyone. Sorry, that enhance the user experience of hardware and software products. Carolyn has provided training for judges for the competition for over a decade. She was an active member of the Boston chapter of the STC for more than 7 years, during which time she participated as a judge. She has won both Distinguished and Excellence Awards. She was a key member of the team who helped rejuvenate STC competitions for the STC New York Metro competition 11 years ago. And so, Carolyn, you might have to unmute yourself because I muted everyone. There was a little feedback, but feel free to unmute yourselves if you need to speak. And just put your comments in the chat. I think Carolyn will ask us to do that. Carolyn, I just unmuted you. There you go.
Okay. I didn't know how to unmute myself. So
Yeah.
Are you sharing my training, or am I using my?
I was hoping that you would share it.
All right. I'm not sure where the widget is to unshare. To share and unshare.
Remember when in our practice there was that screen button at the bottom?
Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
When you hover over it. No?
No, I'm not seeing it. I'm sorry.
Okay. It sort of disappears. I remember when we had this
It does. It does. I see it. I see it. I've got it.
Yes.
Am I sharing as yet?
You are, and while you are you're showing us your GoToMeeting screen. Yeah, you can open it right on up. And so for everyone, notice in this GoToMeeting interface, the videos are on the top, but that white line between the videos and the presentation can be adjusted. It can be sort of dragged and dropped. Like your cursor will change, and then it'll be up and down arrow. And so just feel free to adjust that the way you need it.
Is it best to share the PDF or the PPT? I'm sharing the PPT.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, great, great.
And just put it in like slideshow mode if you like, and then, just use your arrow key to move through the slides.
Are we there? Can you see?
We are there. Yes, we can. Do you want to go to slideshow and select the from beginning button? Mm-hmm. You're set now, Carolyn. Thank you. I will mute myself. Thank you, Carolyn. Okay, we're all
Sorry
good.
to sound so retarded, but I'm not used to this. So before we get started, I wanted to share the pictures of the Competition Council, and that's the first part of our presentation here. So we have our managers are coming from all of the different areas that, I don't think slideshow is going to work for me. I think I might not talk fast enough. Let me go back to options. Remote control.
Just click escape, Carolyn.
Presentation.
Escape.
Presentation.
Okay. Presentation is where? File.
You know what? Just don't worry about it, and just like that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. So we've been blessed to have so many of our returning managers and former presidents of the association in different areas to help us with the competition for this year. That's a blessing. But our competition contacts are Brian Flannery for our webmaster, Nitsa Hauser as our technical advisor. I'm a trainer. Phoebe is a trainer. Bobby Werner is the awards manager. Carolyn Klenger is our judging manager. Malou is our entries manager. And this is the website for all of our assets that we have to refer to. If you go to www.stcmetro.org, home competitions judges, you'll find that we have not only this presentation, but all of our assets for the forms are located in that area. So one of the questions we have is, why would somebody want to be a judge for this competition? Because there is so much effort involved. And why would somebody want to be a judge? And that's for their own personal growth and to be familiar with our professional standards, to see what other companies are doing in the area of technical writing, to evaluate entries for quality, to build relationships with other technical communicators. For some of our judges, this is an opportunity for you to feel like you're a part of a community, to share ideas, to look at other entries and other things that are being offered as technical writing for this year, to build teamwork skills and to give back to the professional community as a whole. So these are some of the reasons why you would want to participate as a judge. For all of you who have volunteered this year, we want to tell you how important it is to participate in this level and how much you're going to enjoy and get out of this experience. My view of the benefits for judging: STC has been dedicated to the advancement of the arts and sciences of technical communication, both on the regional and local levels of these competitions. And acting as a judge in the competitions fosters a spirit of sharing the mutually beneficial knowledge and experience. It helps us to elevate the quality of the user information and user experience throughout the technical communication industry. Judging offers you the opportunity to learn firsthand what user experiences other companies are offering their customers this year. Judging brings technical writing professionals together to evaluate materials that they wouldn't otherwise experience. And every time that I have joined in the judging process, I've learned from these experiences and grown as a writer. So I applaud you, all of you, for offering to judge for this year. What do submitters get out of this experience? And they receive a professional level feedback. And so for some of our entries, these entrants are the sole writers in their companies, and this is their only opportunity to get feedback from other writers. They want to test a format, or they want to prove a point, or they want to win an award. In the past, only entries that received a distinguished or excellence award at the STC chapter level could advance and go on to an international competition. I don't know that this is going to be the case this year, that international is going to be involved in these entries, and only Malou or Carolyn can speak to that later. Entries are evaluated by a 3 or 4 judge team. Each entry completes the entry. Each judge completes an entry assessment form for each entry in the package that they receive. One lead judge for the team coordinates the worksheets and the assessment forms. The team assists the lead judge in preparing a summary for each entry, and on consensus day, these teams meet together and they complete these summary forms. If for any reason you're not able to attend this consensus judging event, you have to prepare your assessment forms in advance and give them to your lead judge. Individual teams reach a consensus on the award levels for their entries, and this includes the designation of no award. So some of your entries are not going to receive any level of an award, but you still have to complete your assessment forms for those entries. Distinguished nominees are nominated, are evaluated together, and they can be evaluated for the best of show status. Only those distinguished award winners are in that category. And finally, the best of show entry is selected. What your responsibilities are as a judge include checking your entry package. Now, you're going to receive either a physical entry or you're going to receive notes on how to get to your online entries. And those, you have to look at those and contact your team leader if something is missing. If you didn't get a link that worked or you didn't receive your physical entry, and contact your lead team leader. If there is an entry that you've received that you feel has been miscategorized, and we'll talk later about, Phoebe, I think, is going to talk about what the categories are and what they mean. And if you feel like you have an entry that's been miscategorized, you want to contact your team leader and let her know or him know that there's a problem with that entry. Judges are personally responsible for completing an entry assessment form for each of the entries that they receive. When you do the entry assessment form, it can take between 4 and 6 hours for each entry that you've received. So if you have 3 entries, this means that between 12 and 18 hours of your time is going to be necessary to complete your assessment forms. The forms must be completed before the consensus day, and this year the consensus day has been designated as April 17th. You have to have your forms done earlier if you're not going to be able to attend that event. The lead judge coordinates the pre-consensus day meeting to see where everybody is in the process and to help the team complete their entries. The team leader is there as an asset to help you with your process. And try your best, if you can, to attend that consensus day event, because that really is the culmination of all the efforts that everyone makes for this judging experience. Entry forms have to be, and entries have to be available on that day. The lead judge reviews all the assessment forms for completeness. The lead judge also records all award levels submitted, and they especially want to coordinate those entries that are going to be nominated for the best of show. Lead judges prepare a summary form for each entry. So they coordinate, they look at the culmination of the judging comments from the judges on their team, and they prepare those summary forms. The lead judge returns all of the entries and entry assessment forms to the competition judging manager and entries manager. And those contexts I gave you previously on slide 3. Your duties and responsibilities include that when you receive your package, you review the contents to assure that you have all of the entries that were assigned to you. You contact your lead judges and fellow judges on your team with any questions that you might have. You attend the pre-conference, that's pre-consensus day conference, meeting with your team, and you complete the judging worksheet for each entry before the team meeting. you complete the entry assessment form for each entry before the consensus day, and you have your completed assessment forms and any physical entries with you when you attend that consensus day event. Be prepared to make changes to your entry assessment forms during consensus. Sometimes you change your mind about an entry after you discuss it with other judges. So it can happen that you've completed your entry assessment forms and you start discussing this with your fellow judges, and you find that you missed something that was a key element of the assessment. And that absolutely can happen. It has happened to me. You're in the middle of this discussion and somebody notices that something major has come up that you missed when you were judging the entry. So you want to be able to make adjustments to your assessment forms once you have the opportunity to discuss this with your fellow judges. So you want your computer there, and you want to have, a thumb drive and the forms available so that you can make those adjustments if you need to. You have to form an initial opinion about whether or not an entry should receive an award, and you want to be able to discuss that level of award that you feel the entry should receive. Now, sometimes when you get into this situation, you feel that something it maybe was just a merit award winner. And when you discuss this with the other judges, that you find that there were key elements that they bring forward and discuss with you that bring your understanding of the award level to a different level. Maybe this was really an excellence award entry and you thought it was just a merit, or the other way around. Maybe you thought it should receive an excellence award, and then other judges bring to your attention the details that make you realize that it should in fact be a merit award instead of excellence. It can go either way, but the important thing about the consensus event is that you discuss each entry fully. You discuss it and come to an understanding that you can share with your fellow judges. The lead judger of this event is the person who has the opportunity to determine what sections of the entry should be evaluated. No one expects that if you receive a physical copy or a PDF file that is 300 pages, for example, of a user's guide, that you have to read the entire 300 pages of that entry. That's not true, but your team leader will say, look, let's take a look at this, and we're going to determine that we all have to read the overview section. And then maybe there are 2 or 3 other sections of the book that we're going to focus on. We don't have to read 300 pages, but we do have to focus in on certain sections, maybe the overview section and maybe 2 or 3 other sections. That determination is made by the team leader. You want to make sure that you're using this year's forms. You don't want to say, oh, I've done this before, let me just use last year's forms. That won't work, because the forms have been updated this year, as Phoebe will instruct you. There are new forms and you want to use the correct form. There are additional comments sections and summary sections in the assessment form, and those will be the basis for doing those summary forms at the end of the judging experience. And you want to make sure that every assessment form is checked for completeness and that the tone of comments is correct. So when you're doing your individual assessment, you might look at something that you received this year and say, oh my God, what were they thinking? Oh, this isn't a professional entry. This is not an award-winning entry. This is not something that we look at and say, oh, this is a fine job that you did this year. You don't want to make off-the-cuff comments that are of a very negative quality. You want to make sure that the tone of your comments is useful and helpful, but not overly critical, and you're never criticizing an individual. You're only criticizing what you're looking at in the terms of the entry. So that tone is going to be checked by your team leader. And you want to prepare the team's nominations for the best of show entries. Again, this applies only to those entries that received a designation of distinguished. For general guidelines, use the criteria questions as guidelines for evaluating each entry. Use the prompts on the forms as a starting point for your review, and you use your own personal knowledge of technical communications to augment the criteria that we're providing. Note that some criteria are not applicable to all entries. For example, we get entries of training material, and those training materials sections don't apply to users' guides or other kinds of materials that you'll be evaluating. Write useful comments for all entries, even those that are not going to receive an award. And your comments are both important and required. We know from experience that people that have given us their entries are really focused on these comments. They are very important to them. And so that you want to make sure that you understand that they're important, and you want to make sure that you provide them, and try to provide 3 compliments or add 3 suggestions for each entry that you're looking at. And sometimes that's difficult, and you might struggle with providing 3, but still try your very best to provide those 3 compliments and 3 suggestions for every entry. If an entry is problematic, don't rewrite the project for them. So nobody gave you this assignment and said, okay, here's an entry and it's very problematic and it's your job to fix it. Nobody is saying that you have to rewrite that project. You want to make sure that you make reasonable suggestions for improvement, but you don't want to give them a laundry list of a dozen or 2 dozen comments that say, you know, you've got to fix this, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. Don't do that. Try to stick to that guideline of 3 items. You want to try to say something positive and try to provide useful comments, but don't rewrite the entry for them. You want to list the most important elements first. So don't say, make sure that you ran a spell check against this item and think that that's the number 1 issue. Maybe the number 1 issue is organizational. You might want to tell them that you'd recommend that they do an outline at the beginning of the project to make sure that they stay on track. And spelling is important. Everybody knows that, but it might not be the most important thing to list first. You want to use specific examples. You want to talk about a page location, a chapter location, and say, here's where the problem is. Keep your comments to the point and don't lecture. Offer suggestions, but don't mandate that something has to be done a certain way. Give concrete suggestions for improvement, and phrase your feedback in the most positive way. Evaluate the work and not the subject matter, and don't be preoccupied with minor flaws. We have found in the past that we've had entries that were not submitted by the person who was responsible for writing that particular project. We have found that sometimes managers submit entries and they use their comments in their employee evaluation for the year. So you want to make sure that you phrase your comments in a very positive way, because you don't want them to be used against someone in their employee evaluation for this year. You want to make sure that you don't try to be humorous. although you may have a wonderful personality and you like sharing your humor with others, when people receive your comments, they can't evaluate, or they can't see you, number one, and they can't appreciate your comments in a humorous way. So don't try to be funny. Don't try to be influenced by your company's standards or their style guide. Don't try to be influenced by your own personal preferences. We want to stick to professional standards. And check your comments for spelling and grammar. These evaluation forms are in Word, and Word has a spelling and grammar checking feature, and you want to make sure that you use those features to make sure that you don't, especially since we're evaluating somebody else's work, you don't want to make a mistake on your own work on your evaluation form. Consider that some contributors don't have control over the entire process. So they might be subject to an editor or a graphics illustrator or whatever that had a different idea than their original concept. So try to consider that not everybody has control over the whole process. Some pieces that we are looking at are produced on a very limited budget. Consider how effectively the available resources of the project were used for this entry, and consider how well the entry communicates its message to its intended audience. Here are some examples of comments that were provided in the past. People can come to an index with many different words in mind for the same action or concept, so try to anticipate what those words might be and include them. This comment suggests a way that improves the index without criticizing the author's approach. The more you use highlighting, the less effective it becomes. So you might want to reconsider your choice of highlighting all notes and tips. So here's a gentle way of saying, maybe you've got highlighting all over every single page. Maybe that doesn't work for you. One man in 8 has difficulty distinguishing between red and green, so you might use another way to indicate the right way and wrong way to do something. Here you should offer a suggestion like, consider using an icon for this purpose. So we know that there is such a thing as color blindness, and it affects men more often, and 1 in 8 men has this particular affliction. So you want to give them a suggestion that takes into account what they've done, but considers that there might be another way to go. There might be something else that they could do. So there's a difference between major and minor flaws in an entry. A major flaw would be illogical organization, incompleteness or missing content, consistently an unclear style, procedural steps that are buried in text, inconsistent pattern of spelling, grammatical errors, consistently confusing terminology, and unresolved links. Those are major problems with an entry. A minor problem might be issues that might cause minor confusion but don't slow the user down too much. A few instances of spelling or grammatical errors, misplaced graphic, inconsistent capitalization, and some confusing terminology. So there's a difference between, we understand that there are flaws, but there's a difference between a major flaw and a minor one. There's no limit to the number of awards that can be given on any level except for the best of show. There can only be one best of show for the whole event. Be objective and impartial, but helpful. Constructive feedback is valuable even if the work is of a below average quality. And look for the effectiveness, appropriateness, and professionalism in both your comments on the entries and in assigning the awards. The award designations are best of show, and again, that's only the one entry for this whole event. Distinguished technical communications, again, there's no limit to the number of those that can receive that award. Excellence and merit. Only one entry can be best of show. This entry has been selected by the judging teams present on Consensus Day from those entries that have been categorized as distinguished technical communications. It is the best of the best for this year. Distinguished Technical Communications Awards are clearly superior in all areas. They contain no major flaws and a few, if any, minor flaws. It applies the principles of technical communication in an outstanding way and anticipates and fulfills the needs of its audience. So that's a very specialized, very sought after award level. The Excellence Award, it has consistently high standards in all areas. It may contain a single major flaw or a few minor ones, and it clearly demonstrates an exceptional understanding of technical communications principles. The Merit Award is consistently high standards in all areas. It might contain a small number of major flaws or minor ones, and it applies communications principles in a highly proficient manner. So again, these are all award level entries. Even if an entry is distinguished, it should receive feedback on the form in the written comments. If an entry is of very high quality, your comments should highlight those things that set it apart in a very good way. Comment on the entry is why it received a particular award level, and it needs positive reinforcement for the good work that was done. You don't write on any physical entries. If you want to make notes for comments on specific pages to use in your comments section of your assessment form, use sticky notes as placeholders. Return the physical entries as they were given to you and remove any sticky notes that you may have applied to the entry while you were in your judging process. Treat all information regarding awards given or not given as confidential until after the judging committee has had an opportunity to send out the notification letters. And official notification process takes about a month. I know that in the schedule they've said that they're going to be able to send out the official notifications within 2 weeks, but in the past it's taken a bit longer than that. I want to thank everyone, and as does everyone on the committee, wants to thank you for your participation in this event, for your time, for your energy, and for your insights. Your insights are the most valuable thing that we can offer to our submitters. From this experience, we know that entry submitters value all of your input and all of your comments. We appreciate your professionalism in stepping up in this way to serve, and that your participation provides a source of revenue for your chapters. So this is a very important process for us, and we can't thank you enough for stepping up and participating in this way. And that's it. So Carolyn, do you want to take over?
Yes, I do. Thank you so much, Carolyn, for that. Really appreciate it. And what perfect timing. You really did a good job with your timing on that, to have this much left, and we'll have time at the end, I think. So we'll go ahead and how about you stop sharing that document, and Phoebe, why don't you get started sharing what you will be showing, and I will introduce you. So again, Carolyn, if you don't see that share button, it hides. Yeah, there we go. Great, excellent. And Phoebe, and you are getting ready. Just want to make sure I see you on, oh, there you are. Okay, perfect. So we're really very, very thankful for Carolyn's time this evening, of course, to share that information with us. And now we have the wonderful Phoebe Forio. She is currently a senior content developer at Verint Systems. And she is a senior member of STC, and she first joined in 1987. She's immediate past president of STC Atlanta, where she previously held roles as vice president, program manager, and hospitality manager. Phoebe has been with the STC Alliance competition since 2016 and has been spearheading the effort to make the judging forms easier to use. So for that, we really thank her. She's been active as a judge and team leader for the competition, and it is a recent winner of an Excellence Award. We have a little echo there on there. Somebody has their phone and their computer audio on, I think. Anyway, without further ado, I will let Phoebe take over. And thank you, Phoebe.
All right, and I'm sharing and I'm talking, right? Okay.
Yes, I think I'm going to need to mute some people who aren't muted. And now we are.
Okay. Well, can't hear anything, so I'll just assume that I'm talking. All right, so the judging forms, how to find them, when to use them, and how to fill them out. All right. So some general form information. All the forms are available at this link, and it's under Download Resources for Judges. And there are 6 forms, and we'll go over these. The form summary, initial impressions, discussion notes, the assessment form, the consensus summary, best of show, and that's it. The consensus summary and best of show are completed by the team leads, and assessment forms and consensus summary go to the entry submitter. So what are all these forms? What do you do with them? So the first one is the form summary. This one just lists and summarizes the use of each form, in case you don't know. And you can use this as a reference. You can print it out, and you can add due dates or whatever you want on it, but it's just sort of a handy reference form. So there's really nothing to fill out there, which is nice. So all judges will fill out any of those forms, and then only the team leaders need to fill out the other 2. The initial impressions form is a blank form that you can use as you go through your entries, and it's a handy way to record your thoughts as you begin to review an entry. And these are good to have when you're discussing the entry with your teammates. You want to record on these forms some things that stick out to you. So you've taken the entry out of the envelope or downloaded it, you're looking at it, and something pops out and you say, oh, this is really a beautiful graphic. Well, you want to write on there beautiful graphic under prose. Or you see something and you say, I cannot believe that they made this mistake. So you write down that. So this will not go back to the submitter, but this is kind of just the things that you see when you first start looking at an entry. So I got a couple of examples here, so you can see. So on this one, you just kind of say, wow, this looks really comprehensive. It's got all this information. The front cover's nice. So those are the kinds of things. Or you look and you say, oh my gosh, the bottom borders, these troubleshooting tables are sloppy, or these web links go all over the place. This is not good. So those are the kinds of things. So you got those, some pros. Then over here, you can also make notes about things that are really nice. Like this is something that that some writer decided that this was something that needed to be done. It was a voluntary thing, and so that comes up and you say, wow, that's really great. So there's another way you can use the form for the initial impressions. The next form is the discussion notes. So this one is optional, definitely, but you can print it out like I do and take notes in pencil, or you can keep it online and type it in if that's more your style. And this one you don't have to submit to anyone. You can just start writing in it as you have a conversation with your team. For example, if you're having a conversation with your team and the team says, well, I think the organization is terrific. You know, they really did a good job of putting this information with that information. So under strength, you put under organization and scope, any conversation you had about that, you might want to write it there. Or if there's some really convoluted sentences, then under weaknesses, maybe under writing and editing, you could say, well, those are some really convoluted sentences. But these will come in handy, trust me, as you start working on the actual assessment form that you're going to fill out that goes back to the submitter. So on each assessment form, and this is the one that goes back to the submitter, there are evaluation considerations. So there's organization and scope, writing and editing, layout and presentation, and these are all the things you're going to look at. The artwork, navigation, then for web-based entries like help systems and websites, there are some other criteria you want to look at. Consider the publication or the delivery method. New this year, we have a section for video. So if you're reviewing a video, there's some criteria you can look at there. And that's where you make those comments. Instructional design and the summary of the entire form. So on the assessment form, for example, on the organization and scope section, here's some evaluation considerations. And then underneath that would be the strengths that you found in the document. But you don't want to use these, as Carolyn mentioned, you don't use these evaluation considerations as a checklist. Like you wouldn't just go down and say, check, 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 and then you're done. You want to just look at these things and then make comments that relate to those things. And you may see other things that have to do with organization and scope that aren't listed here, which is perfectly fine. And remember, this goes back to the submitter, so you want to make sure that everything you say is helpful, and any suggestions for improvement those are actionable. They can actually do something about it. Again, here are the areas of improvement, and I'm showing you these. Just you can read these and you can see the wording and this, for example, down here, the rationale was sound, but the naming of it was a little bit not as helpful as it could have been. Some other suggestions as opposed to this is wrong and this is bad. So again, this is the form and the illustrations of some of the material that Carolyn just went through. Again, as you're going through these, remember that each one of these works is somebody's baby, and you really don't want to call the baby ugly, right? So find their good side, find something that really helps them improve it if possible. This one is sometimes it can be difficult to evaluate something that's really good. So and you may find that this is the harder part of the assessment is, there's really nothing wrong. they did a great job on everything, and so this can actually be more of a challenge to write. So in the sorry, I lost my place. Sorry. Anyway, the consensus form is the one that you've worked with your team on, your judging team. And this is where you come together and you pick out the top things. So each of you has gone off and you've done your own assessment. You found things that you think were excellent or good. You find the things that you think really need some work. And then you come together and talk about it with your team, and you pick out the things that would really make a difference in the or really made a difference in the entry. So you find the strengths and sort of narrow it down to a few that really made a difference. And then in the opportunities for improvement, again, you want to pick the ones that if they changed it, if they fixed it, if they did something to that, then that might have made a difference between winning an award or not winning an award. Oops. And then at the end of that, that's when you make your decision. During that conversation, you'll make the decision if you're going to have an award or no award. For the best of show form, this is the one that the team lead will fill out with the help of the team to nominate an exceptional entry for best of show. So the team lead does fill it out, but definitely with input from the rest of the team. Once again, the initial impression and discussion notes do not go back to the submitter. They're just used within the teams to promote discussion and move the reviews forward. You can write whatever you like, but you probably want to follow the same guidelines as you would for the assessment and consensus summary forms, just to get in the correct mindset, and it actually gets you started on the way. So many a time I've had some stuff that I put in my initial impressions form that I can basically copy over to the assessment form because I wrote it correctly, I guess you'd say, or in an appropriate manner in the first place. Once again, the assessment form does go back to the submitter. You want to make those comments helpful. You want to include specific examples, and you want to write something positive about each entry. The consensus form also goes back to the submitter, and Carolyn said top 3. I always do top 5, but or you could meet in the middle, do top 4 for positive areas and areas for improvement. And then again, focus on the items that could have made a difference between award levels. This is a repeat, basically, of Carolyn's guidelines for reviews. But first of all, the first thing you want to do is review the submission form to understand the provenance of an entry or any limitations. Sometimes as you read the background to the piece, or the information about who worked on it, how they worked on it, they were given 2 days and a box of crayons and $1.49, and that's what they had to work with. So once you understand that, then that puts everything into perspective. Again, do not use the evaluation criteria as a checklist, or the considerations as a checklist. It's just a starting point, the things for you to consider. Don't try to use humor. Use specific examples and give concrete suggestions for improvement. Something they can actually do to fix something. Again, phrase feedback in a positive way, and don't let your personal preferences or your company style guide influence your comments. And don't get bogged down in minor flaws, especially in those big books. And again, check your own comments for spelling and grammar, and look for effectiveness, appropriateness, and professionalism. Here's some suggestions for as you're writing comments, instead of saying run spell check, again, just spell check. Here's some typos and specifically where they are. There are vague references in text and no links to the PDF. And so over here, it says basically to improve the findability. What's the reason that you're making this comment? And how the active links could have been more helpful in the PDF. Again, here's the list of major and minor flaws for your reference. And again, how to determine the award level for each one. And these, if you haven't seen them, these are the badges that people win. Very excited about the badges. And this is this year's judging schedule. So on this schedule, we've got some milestones. They're kind of divided up into, I don't know, 2-weekish, I guess, divisions. And sort of to give you an idea, yes, the consensus day is April 17th. That is the day that all of the final assessments need to be ready, and you need to be ready for your best of show and everything else. It all should be done by April 17th. But there is a lot of time between now and then. These milestones can help you and your team, and the team leads will kind of guide this as far as how you will work. But the milestones can help you divide it up so that you have enough time to look at these entries, to give them the consideration that you need to give them, and to write up the type of assessment forms that when the submitter gets it back, they really feel like somebody paid attention to what they did and is offering them genuine feedback that is, again, actionable, helpful, and professional. So I had a little animation there. And then on April 28th, the Alliance will announce the award winners. And that is it for me.
Thank you so much, Phoebe. We have, we had originally planned to be on till 8:30. Of course, we'd love to give people some time back, but why don't we start by just like having open forum to discuss judging and what, thoughts we might have, things that are left out that might help some of our new judges, or just, I don't know, judging conundrums you want to bring up.
Carolyn, I have a question. This is Cindy.
Mm-hmm. Hey.
I was wondering, so when are you expecting that the final forms will be uploaded to the Google Drive on April 17th?
So I guess you're going to have a consensus meeting by the 17th that you as a judging lead, let's say you're a judging lead, that you would hold by that date. So no, I guess we have flexibility after that to get your final award levels in. But the judges need to have their assessments written by then, before they meet for that consensus meeting. Have that, get their things to their lead judge by the 17th, their assessments.
Okay, and then the lead judge uploads everything to the Google Drive.
Yeah, the lead judge, it's their job. They'll have a summary sheet for what is the award or level or no award for each of their entries of their group, which is 3 for all of you.
Okay, thank you.
Sure thing. Yeah. Yeah, this year we'll, hopefully not run into any unexpected delays with, getting all of that done. But, we're really flexible to work with you. But, you know, as judges, I think in general, let's try to get our work done by then. Sometimes after we have a consensus, we look through our assessment forms one more time and then send them off to our lead judge. That's okay too. It's not like you can't edit it again after you've had a consensus meeting, because I don't know, lots of things can happen.
I would recommend that we use that extra week that's assigned for whatever item number 4 would have been on our teams, that we use that time to share out our assessments and you know, try to get things so that we can hit the 17th as a deadline to finalize them. I don't know if that would mean that teams might have a kind of a pre-consensus conversation, but our schedule allows for it, since we thought we might have 4 items on each team initially. You know, just
Okay.
recognizing that we've got a window of time that we could use productively and move ourselves forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, hopefully everybody can get everything done much quicker. We have three entries each for each team, compared to 4 last year, if you remember. So that was difficult for several teams, and and hopefully this year we'll have enough, just enough for everybody, and we'll be done on time and more quickly.
Yeah, Mike was saying in the chat that he likes to get his consensus meeting done before the date that we suggest as your consensus meeting date. That is absolutely great. You know, in the past, when we used to have, you know, in-person consensus meetings, you know, different teams, some teams would decide as a group they don't want to go to that. They don't want to go in person on Saturday morning and talk about these things. They would rather meet a week before or whatever online, and so then they could come to consensus then, and they don't have, you know, then they're done. We like that. That's fine. You know, it's no problem for. And now that we're 100% online, and it's really just a matter of upload. You know, that getting it as a judge, you get your stuff to your lead, and the lead gets the assessments after they review them. We'll have a checklist for you soon, okay? But they upload those to Google Drive. That is it. And then the best of show judging, I guess Malu will have it. I don't know the date of the best of show offhand, but that'll be separate from the whole. That'll be a selected group of judges that'll be like who did not judge those entries that will decide on the best of show.
No, no, consensus day is the day we decide all together.
The best of show.
The best of show.
Okay.
Every judge has a chance to vote, and it's whatever entry has the majority, that's the winner.
Yeah, sorry. In the DC chapter, we didn't do it like that, and I didn't do consensus with you guys last year, and I just didn't know. Whatever way you do it's fine.
Yeah, there's also a motion for consideration of maybe possibly having 2 best of shows, depending on whether we have enough very, very good entries. For example, they're in 2 totally different categories, and they're so excellent. It could be hard to judge between 2 different categories of entries. We might consider it. So we'll see what happens.
Malu, when is Brian gonna send out the emails to everyone with their assignments?
After this meeting, we will tell
Okay.
Brian.
Roberta was asking, so I was just wondering. It's okay, whatever time.
There are 2 things I need to double check and make sure it's clean before he sends it out.
No problem. Any other comments or questions? Let's see, make sure we have anything in the chat that we want to talk about.
Are you guys interested in the mock training sessions, practice sessions?
Yes.
And you think it might be a fun way to get into the habit of focusing on our entries. And they're only we plan them to be 30-minute sessions. So once the
So
first
John,
one.
well, John Garrison will do the first one this week, and I had already put aside Wednesday and Thursday at 7 p.m., but I only have one speaker so far, John. So, John, do you prefer Wednesday or Thursday? I don't know if he's still on. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Wednesday's fine.
You prefer Wednesday? Okay. So I will send out a I'll send out the Malu will send out the email with the join information. Oh, wait a minute. I can't do it Wednesday. I can't do it because I can't use this platform. Tavia just told me we have a DC chapter thing on this platform on Wednesday. Can we do it on Thursday, John?
Sure.
Okay, sorry
No
about
problem.
that. Yeah, I think never mind. So yeah, Thursday at 7 will be our first optional mock judging exercise, 30 minutes, we'll record it. We'll have an entry that John will get a look at ahead of time and like just have everyone discuss it, how they would judge it, like what jumps out at them, just kind of get you interested. Then Mike Nelson is going to do another judging training, a mock judging exercise the week of February 8th. And we're narrowing down that schedule. And I think we have a third one, Malu, but I don't know. Malu and I will have to coordinate this now. So we're going to get that out to you guys.
It's set on the schedule February 1st. Wait, yeah, I think it was February 1st.
Yeah, I
or
have this.
7th.
So I had, right. February 1st turns out not to be good for Mike, so we're going to do it a week later.
Okay. So that would be the 8th then.
Yeah, the week of the 8th. So I've offered to Mike to let us know his schedule. So we will firm that up with you guys as soon as we get that settled.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
sorry.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Hi, Carolyn. This is Carolyn.
Hi, Carolyn.
Hi. I just wanted to mention I didn't put up the criteria summary. There's a big document, and I made it available to you, and I'm sure you're going to upload it. But I wanted to point out that there is criteria for every category of document, and these are objective criteria, and you should refer to that while you're doing your judging.
Excellent. So I think that what I'll do, I'll just make a note to send out the link to that to everyone in the email, okay?
Yeah.
And then Mike said the 8th is fine with him. So we have, now we have mock judging on January, Thursday is what, the 28th? And then we have February 8th, and I think we're gonna have one more date perhaps in the middle. We will see, hopefully.
Is everybody okay?
Have any other questions or want to talk about judging in any manner?
I had a question. I forgot it.
Okay. Oh yeah, the email address for sending your picture, send it to me. I've sent it to a number of emails out to you already, carolyn.klinger@verizon.net. I'll put it right in the chat. I would appreciate that.
I'm assuming you want a real picture of us?
It doesn't have to be just whatever you want, because consider it's going to go onto the internet. Not that people are going to go and find you, but if you are a cartoon picture person or something like that, you know, it is really up to you. It's if you don't provide a picture, we might provide one of those old-fashioned cameo pictures. One with the longer hair than the other. I don't know. It's up to you. All right. Well, if anything else, Malu?
Well, just wanted to wish everybody well. Wanted to welcome back Bobby Werner, who was down with COVID and hospitalized for a while, and hope that everybody gets a chance to get their vaccine soon, or and that we just get back to more normal ways of doing things sometime this year.
I talked to my doctor today, and he said that I'm probably not going to get a vaccine until May. So stay safe. But today, our governor has announced that we are off of the stay home order, although a lot of areas are under general restrictions. So I at least will be able to likely volunteer at the zoo again.
That's awesome. Sue's in San Diego.
Oh, yeah, I live in San Diego. And it's not sunny today. We've got like howling winds and pouring rain, and it's freezing cold.
It's colder in DC. I win.
It might be. I tuned into the cheetah cubs, and they're all like curled up into a ball, and I want to be in the middle of the cheetah cub pile.
It's 70 here. Come to Houston.
Is it really? It is 52 right now here.
Oh, God.
That's balmy.
Who's in Houston?
No,
Who's in
it's
Houston?
not.
We have some judges from the Lone Star chapter, Lone Star, Texas chapter. Zora, you want to say hi? Zora is
And we have a judge. Hi, Zora.
Hi, thank you. I was
Zora.
having my dinner, so sorry.
No problem. We have a judge in Ontario, a judge in Quebec, and a judge in Scotland.
Nice.
Oh, Scotland's going to have fun with these meetings, aren't they?
She's watching the recording. Yes, she
Oh,
is.
it's good.
Yes, and so anyway, nobody who is outside of the U.S. has a print entry. They all have online entries, so they don't have to wait for the mail. So anyway, as soon as, we have a great diverse group. It's amazing that we are doing this virtually. We were all set for a pandemic. Well, I guess you can never be all set for a pandemic, but being completely virtual, with the Alliance competition kind of let us just continue. But now we get wonderful, talented judges from all over. And I'm really happy to have a chance to get to know you a little bit tonight and through this process. And I'll be in touch with you soon. We've been very busy with getting the entries ready, and they pretty much are. I'm very excited about the ratio of 54 judges to 54 entries. And I think we have like 4 backup judges when we need them. So really happy. I think we are going to be great this year. All of us are in fine spirits. We're not overloaded with this task. And I'm going to give you back 10 minutes. I think I'm going to stop talking soon.
Wait,
I think I'm going to stop talking right now.
What did you decide to be? What name did you decide to call the alternate jurors?
Yeah, I never want to use the word SWAT again. Oh, that's just news to Malu. Sorry, no SWAT judge. A SWAT judge is what was it? A strategic
Weapons
weapons
and tactical
and tactics
and tactical
and something. So we're not. No, we're like. No, I guess we're like backup judges. And it's just whatever. I forget what I have about 100 suggestions in Facebook, Sue. So I have to collect them. Anyway, yes. All right, guys. I'm gonna say goodnight. Thank you so much for being with us.
Karen.
Really, thank you for judging.
Good night.
Bye.
Okay, well. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.